What a weekend it has been for the Mini 60 category. There you can see the cleanup operation just underway from the previous race. But let's have a look at the next race that is coming out onto the circuit. Mini 60, drivers aged 8 to 12 years of age. 33 entries into this weekend, 16 nationalities joining us from around the world. Again, a very exclusive grid of drivers from all over the globe here racing for round 2 at Valencia in Spain. The session and the class itself as well running on the Paralin Opportunity chassis. The engines, the TM Mini 3 60cc, just 12 brake horsepower, but certainly a very fast, rapid little kart. Maximum weight, minimum weight, I should say, 110 kilograms. Again, any gram underneath that, they end up in a lot of bother with the stewards at the end of the weekend. They need to make sure they're above that weight. The tyres, the Vega M1 tyres they'll be using for this one. And of course, it'll be the tyres they'll have used throughout the entirety of today compared to Cremona, where they had the challenging conditions with the rain coming down, the track clearing. There was a fine line between choosing the wets or the slicks. But this weekend, has been absolutely fine. They have stuck to those Vega M1s. The allocation as well, the one full set per day. They get to use that throughout the entirety of it. The grid will very soon get themselves ready to go racing. And over the course of this weekend, there's been some absolutely fantastic results for the drivers in both of them. In qualifying Heat 1 and in Heat 2. In Heat 1, it was Bruno Priam taking the win. In Heat 2, the winner, also Bruno Priam. He's got the maximum points. He's starting on pole for this one. You can see him there just down on the left-hand side of your screen chatting with a number of other drivers who were starting up at that sharp end of the field. Qualifying Heat 1, second place, Albert Tam, who put it in pole in qualifying. He starts this one alongside on that front row of the grid, but not had the results he would have wanted. P2 in his first race, P3 in his second. So again, good results, constantly in that top 3, puts himself in a prime position for this final. Second row of the grid, Maxim Bobajov, Lucas Palacio as well. Another good result for them. Palacio gaining good results in the first race. 1 position gained, he finished in P4. Qualifying Heat 2, again, P4 finish. So again, just had those consistent results in those qualifying heats. Gives them a great starting spot for this final. Maxim Bobajov, again, another who was always fighting in that top 3, third in qualifying Heat 1, and then it was second in qualifying Heat 2. So again, right in that sharp area of the race. There you can see the weekend results for the top 2, Bruno Priam and Albert Tam, second and first and second, first and third. So again, they've been really battling against each other throughout this one, really putting themselves in a prime position. Another prime position is, well, right there on the banking. That is on the outside of turns 15. That's some of the fastest corners on the circuit that you can see there. And everyone taking a prime spot there to watch the racing from that position. The sun is shining once again. The wind has picked up just that little bit more as well. But the clouds, well, they've departed. It's a nice blue sky now, and it's ready to go racing for the Minis. And again, Marshall's out on circuit. What a brilliant job they've done over the course of this weekend. Really making sure the drivers stay nice and safe out on the circuit. So we do thank them for their help out there. There's one of the many viewing spots as well on the circuit. The sort of grandstand at the final chicane as well, starting to fill up with people as well over the course of this race. But certainly a tense moment starting to build for the Mini 60 category. The championship very close at the moment. Alessandro Truchol was the leader going into this weekend, of course. 25 championship points that will have gone the way towards Bruno Priam. That will have bumped him past Alessandro Truchol. So Truchol will have lost his championship lead now. But Bruno Priam and Albert Tam are going to be right there. I think they're pretty much identical on points at the moment. So it's certainly going to make it a challenge going into this final. I think whoever wins this final today leads the championship going into tomorrow. And, of course, tomorrow is another full day. So another 2-point scoring opportunities for the Mini 60 category, which really makes this championship, this competition for all the drivers, second to none and probably the most interesting championship we have seen in many, many years. Mini 60 then, the music comes out and the drivers start making their way out onto the circuit. We'll go over the full starting lineup in a few moments' time. But a reminder of the championship, of course, this race series couldn't happen without the many partners that have joined RGMMC to really help push and develop these young drivers in their young racing careers. The Championship of the Future Academy program is a developmental series. It's an Arrive and Drive series as well. All this equipment that they are using has been provided. The only thing the drivers needed to do was just rock up with a mechanic and their toolbox, and that's about it, and their race gear. That's all they needed to do. And then they go racing. Everything is brought to each round from DHL. They have done some fantastic work in delivering all of the equipment to each event out there as well. Parolin providing the chassis, TM Kart providing the engines, Vega providing the tyres as well as the drivers make their way out for this final. Bruno Priam and Albert Tam, they start on row number 1. Superb racing from them so far this weekend. Maxim Bobrajov and Lucas Palacio round out row number 2. Row 3 sees Oscar Hennock and Antoine Venat going from row 3. Achilles Peruzzi and Braje Kostreva round out row number 4. Superb results from them. Can they better it in this final? Lorenzo Zucchetto and Vincente Capella, they go from row 5. They round out the top 10. Row 6 is Min-Jae Kim. First appearance for the driver from South Africa with Augustine Felagoni alongside Oscar Singh and Werner Guth. They go from row number 7. Row 8 is Danik Rivera and Juan Garciase. Juan Garciase, who gained so many positions in his first qualifying heat earlier on. Can he do the same in this final? Row number 9 sees Jan Gardzielik and Elias Boulier on row number 9. They round out the top 18 out on circuit. The top 20 sees Ava Lawrence and Alexander Shilo on row 10. Row 11 sees Sophie Guff and Maddox Mason. Again, two drivers who have had some good results, but starting this one, 21st and 22nd. Sebastian Chris and Michael Vino round out row number 12. They'll have Aaron Mason and Koda Singh on row 13 just behind. Keep an eye on them. Newcomer Theodore Constantinou and Lena Samalanka go from row 14. Constantinou having some good results as well, gaining through the field. But keep an eye on the entirety of this grid. You just don't know who is going to come away with a top result in this one. Like we were saying, Tam in a good position here. So is Bruno Priam, fighting in the championship, and they start on the front of this grid on row number 1. Bruno Priam with perfect results so far. Can he make it 3 out of 3 in this final? He starts in a prime opportunity. Can he take that prime opportunity and take it all the way to the end of this race? There is a little further back. That's Alexander Shilo, the 825, starting on the 10th row of the grid in P20. A little further down, we've seen it done before in these categories. We've seen those gaps come down. We've seen drivers really make their way through the field. This driver here, though, will not need to make his way through the field because he starts at the front of it. Qualified second, 2 qualifying heat wins earlier on. Can he make it 3 from 3 at the start of this one? Bruno Priam in a prime position to come away with maximum points at the end of today's racing Saturday for round 2, the first final of the weekend. Albert Tam, who starts alongside him as well. Really, really good results. Pole in qualifying. He was looking so strong at the start of the day. And he's stayed with the strong results as well. Second and a third for Albert Tam. So he's in a position where he knows what he needs to do. Can he just maintain it, get that cut to the inside? He's got the benefit now of the fact that he's not got the stress of someone sending it down the inside of him at turn number 1. He's just got the challenge of just trying to get that cut down the inside and holding on to that top spot there. Oscar Singh, you could just see getting ready. They're chatting with his mechanic, getting everything sorted out. Oscar Singh, who starts this one 13th on the grid, so a little bit further down in the order, but still crucially on the inside row. That's the ultimate test. Reaction tests happening as well. You can see there for some of the drivers. That's Jan Gardzielik in the 830. A little further down in the order, just having a nice little quick reaction test there before getting ready for this race. And, you know, reactions are a vital thing in motorsport. Actions happen so quickly. And when you have to react to something happening in front of you, it could be millimeters that cause you from gaining several positions or being included in that same incident. Maxim Bobrikov, well, what can we say about him? Third in qualifying, third and a second in the qualifying heats as well. Really good, strong results from Maxim Bobrikov. He is a real contender in this race. Certainly one that's going to be piling on the pressure to the rest of the field. The same as this man here, Lucas Palacio from Italy. Really, again, good results for him. Fifth in qualifying, 2 fourth places. So has only been gaining the 1 place in the races earlier on, but that's only because he wasn't able to stick with the drivers up ahead. Now he's up into that P4. He could potentially stick with the likes of Bruno Priam, Albert Tam, Maxim Bobrikov. He's right in that fight now. He's not in the row behind now. He's a row ahead, so he's got a much better starting spot for this one. Granted, he's not on the inside row, but he could still get that car on the inside if it is doable. If the gap arises, I'm sure he will take it, but he starts P4 for this one, as well as the rest of the field. Time very quickly running out as we get ready to go racing here for Mini 60. Whistle blows, and the drivers get sent away for their race, and there's already some drama. One of the cars not starting. Well, actually, it does get starting now. It was the 835 that was Vincent Capella. The car didn't get away. Now it does, so all the cars very slowly making their way off the grid. Let's quickly run through the grid once more. Bruno Priam and Albert Tam on row number 1. Maxim Bobrikov and Lucas Palacio on row 2. Oscar Hennig and Antoine Venet, they go from row 3 with Achilles Peruzzi and Blage Kostreva on row 4. Lorenzo Zucchetto and Vincente Capella go from row 5. Min-Jae Kim and Augustine Falagoni on row 6. Oscar Singh and Werner Guth, they go from row 7 with Darat Rivera and Juan Garciase on row 8. Jan Garzelik and Elias Poulet go from row 9. Abe Lawrence and Alexander Shilo go from row 10. They round out the top 20 ahead of Sophie Guff and Maddox Mason on row 11. Then it's Sebastian Kurz from Michael Vino on row 12. Aaron Mason and Koda Singh on row 13 with Theodore Constantinou and Lena Samalanka on row 14, giving us our 28 drivers in this race. Has everyone made it out for this final? The answer to that is yes. All 28 karts are out there and running, which is good to see. So, well, actually, no, I say that. We're down to 27. Antoine Vénard, the driver who is going to be starting on the 3rd row of the grid in P6. His wagon has not started. And as you can see there, they've tipped it on its side. So I think it may have filled up a little bit there, or maybe it's something loose. Oh, the chains come off. The chains come off his cart. That's what's happened. And, well, there, a sea of mechanics are going to try and get that one sorted out. Now, that is just off the start-finish line. There you can see them frantically working on it. Now, a chain that's come off. Now, that's a difficult one to sort out because, remember, it's been put to a certain tautness, so it's tensioned up. So what they've had to do there, I think they've had to loosen the engine mounts a little bit there. They're going to move the engine a little bit to try and give it a little bit more slack to get it back on the sprocket. Then they'll put the engine back. But that's a very delicate thing to try and do, actually, because if they pull it back a little bit too much and make it too tight, make it too taut, that chain, it could snap while it's in the race. So they need to make sure they get it absolutely perfect. But right now, well, Antoine Venet, he's not there. That P6 spot is missing. He will not make the start of this race as the guys really do work hard on this. He may get into the race, but he's certainly not going to be starting in P6. I think they have got it doing it. It's back down on its wheels. I can see out of the commentary box window. There it is. Yeah, it's back on the wheels. He's back in the car. But crucially, he's going to be starting on the back of the grid. And the question is that did they over-tighten that chain, and could it possibly snap in this final? That is the ultimate test. Right then, into the tram lines. The grid is nice and slow. Are we going racing? The answer to that is yes. Green flag goes out. We are away and racing in Mini 60 for round 2. It's a slow getaway at the back of the grid. It's a great start at the front. Sideways there. Contact for Lucas Palacio. He nearly gets spat out of the field there, but amazingly, he holds on to it. Down in towards turn 3 they go. Everyone slides through the chicane nice and clean. The field was actually really spread out there at the start, so it's not been too dramatic going through these first few corners. But crucially, that is a superb getaway for Bruno Priam, who now opens up a huge gap. Albert Tam is there in 2nd place. They are clear at the moment. This is 3rd and 4th place at the moment, and it's Lucas Palacio who's there, and it's the 837 of Maxim Bobrikov who's in tow. So the ultimate question here is that can these two drivers now work together, close up the gap towards Albert Tam, who's there in second place, and try and push all of them up to Bruno Priam, who's there in the lead. Because remember in Minute, wow, that's a big send down the inside for Maxim Bobrojov on the opening lap. He moves up into P3, and that looked like to me that maybe Lucas Palacio braked early there on that braking zone into the final chicane, because the speed difference between the two of them was dramatic there. Right then, well, Albert Tam's closed in on Bruno Priam. That was inevitable. You just can't break away in Mini 60 at this circuit. The slipstream is too powerful. Unless they've broken away by a fair chunk of seconds, that gap is always bound to come down. The toe is too strong here in the category. And because they don't have the power to break through the sort of air resistance that's out there that forms, you get these really close battles here. And already now it's gone from Bruno Priam, who was leading the way now, to having Albert Tam on his rear bumper, to now he's got Maxim Bobrojov on his rear bumper. Now it's the downside for Palacio, because he's back to where he was earlier on in this weekend. He's there in P4. He was battling with them, but now he's lost the toe. Now he's lost the slipstream. He's going to have to wait for these three to start battling, or he will have to drop back to Achilles Peruzzi, who's there in P5 at the moment, who's up 2 places, but still is a little further down in the order. Let's have a look further down in the order as well, keeping an eye on this battle. Any big movers? Juan Garciase has gained 5 places at the moment. He's looking really strong, like he did earlier on as well. Aaron Mason's up 6 places. He's just come up into the top 20 now. He's in P19, so he's having a good race as well. Are we going to see a move here for second place? Are we going to see Bobrojov go for the move? No, we're not. We're going to see a train start to form here, but oh no, Tam's getting a little bit feisty now here on Bruno Priam. Look to the inside there through one of the corners to stay behind now. And this is the danger the rest of the field have now, because if these three just continue like this, no battling, no changing, just pushing each other along, as long as they have the pace, and right now looking at the times, this top 3 group is the fastest group out on circuit. They will just keep breaking and breaking away. They will open up a battle buffer, is what we like to call it, from the rest of the field. So when we come to the last 2 laps of the race, that's when you see them go to work. That's when you see the battles happening. There's the live gap between first place Bruno Priam and Lucas Palacio in P4. It's currently 0.8 of a second. Now it's over 0.9 of a second. So the gap, again, is just increasing more and more. The only thing that can stop this from continuing, these three breaking away, is if these three start battling, or Palacio drops back to Peruzzi and Kostreva just behind, and they all work together to try and close in. The only thing is that they have to be faster as a group to close into this one. That's the ultimate test of these drivers in the Mini 60 category right here. That's the sort of style of racing that we see in the Mini category right now. The only question that remains is that, well, mutiny has not kicked in right yet between these three who are working together as we go into lap 4, but maybe it's going to start kicking in now. Down the inside, change for P2. Bobrojov goes through, splits the two of them apart. Bruno Priam holds on to the lead. Tam, though, down into 3rd place. Well, Bobrojov, now with that move, puts himself in a good position still. They've not lost too much time. Now Palacio has dropped back to the drivers behind. They need now to work together. The gap is 1.4 seconds, about 1.2 seconds now, the gap between Tam and Palacio just behind. But over the course of this weekend, these two, well, they've been on each other all the way throughout it, haven't they? Bobrojov and Tam, 3rd and 1st in qualifying, and been swapping 3rd and 2nd places all the way throughout this weekend. And, well, guess what? They currently sit 2nd and 3rd on track. So these results of where they've always been this weekend, despite the fact that Bruno Priam did qualify below all of these drivers at the start of this day today. Priam has certainly had the pace, the momentum to hold on to this spot and really push forward throughout this race here. And you know, he's not going defensive at this stage of the race. He's staying in position. He's not thinking about defending from the drivers. And again, we always do see this in the Mini 60 category. He's just He's just thinking, you know, let's push forward, let's not fight, let's not battle, let's just think about getting to the end here, and we'll figure that bit out in the last few laps. And that's what gives us exciting races on the last couple of laps for Mini 60. Tam, I don't want to say he's starting to lose touch with the drivers in front, but the gap is starting to open up a little bit here. He needs to be careful he doesn't lose touch of the top two. If he does, he will only have to drop back into the group behind, who are much, much further behind. There you can see live gap just under 0.4 of a second. What's it going to be when they cross the line? It goes up or down. It goes up 0.6 of a second. That's how much you gain with the toe and the bump draft on that back straight. They took 0.3 of a second out of the lead there. Albert Tam is starting to fade here in this final, and that is a big, big shame. After he was on pole in qualifying, he has just not tumbled down the order, but he's there in third place. And now I think his only saving grace in this one is to maybe drop back to Peruzzi and Kostreva, Palacio behind. But the downside to that is, well, the downside of what's happened to Palacio here. He has not stayed at the front of that train behind, and they've pushed him along. They've got past him, and he's dropped down to P6 now, has Palacio. So maybe it's better for Tam if he just stays there now and just keeps pushing as hard as he can and wait for these two to start battling. We're on lap 7 at the moment. We're going on to lap 8. But still, these two drivers staying line astern. Achilles Peruzzi, who is up into P7 at the moment. Well, he's not gained anything now. He was up into P5. He's just lost out in a couple of positions there. But he's had a relatively average day for Peruzzi. He was a driver who was on form at Cremona. He was a driver who really put in some good positions in times. But right now, really just holding strong in his position now. He's in the group just a little further back. Has there been any big movers in this race? Not really. Aaron Mason, 7 places gained. Theodore Constantinou has gained 6 places. He's up to 21st place and is kind of in a bit of a race on his own at the moment. He's not got anyone around him right now, so he's having a calm race at the moment, is Theodore Constantinou for his first appearance here. The same can be said for Albert Tam. A nice calm race he's having right now, just trying to get that kart right to the end. We're going to lap 9 now of 14. Still no change between these top two. And I suspect it's going to stay like this for the majority of the race until those last few laps. That's when we'll see those moves come in thick and fast. Priam, with the fastest up the race, though, is just kind of sealing that position of, you know, I'm the quickest driver here. You know, I've done these qualifying heats. I've won both of them. Yes, okay, I qualified second. It's not been a perfect weekend, but the qualifying heats themselves have been good. It's getting a little bit interesting a little further down in the field, though. As you can see here, the 817 of Achilles Peruzzi, who is, well, he's saying some words of encouragement there, maybe to the drivers just behind him in the form of Lorenzo Succhetto and Augustine Falagoni. Now, Falagoni's up 1 place. Peruzzi and Succhetto have dropped down a little bit, so they are trying to push themselves further up. Juan Garciase is up 9 places in this race. He's in P7. So Juan Garciase is having a very good race. As we cut back to the race leaders here, still Bobajov chasing Bruno Priam. The gap is non-existent. There's nothing between the two of them. Line astern here, just breaking away from the rest of the field. The gap now is 1.9 seconds ahead of Albert Tam. So Tam has just, he's just not been able to match the pace here. A kart's pulled off on the start-finish straight. That's just off camera view, right in front of the commentary box. Unfortunately, it's a retirement for Antoine Vinet. Now, we were talking about whether or not that repair job may survive that race. And I think the answer to that is no. Now, the concern of mine was the chain going to snap because it fell off initially. And then obviously they've put the engine on, but obviously they've done it in a way, they've done it in a rushed way. They may have made it too tight, they may have pushed the engine a little too far forward and put a lot of tension on the chain, and then in that race it's just snapped and now it's come to an end. So yeah, Not sure if that is the case, but it's Antoine Venet out of this final, and that is a big, big shame for the driver from Belgium, who would have been starting on the 3rd row of the grid. Further back, Aaron Mason, 7 places gained, and he's moving up the field. Currently in P18 is also as well. In a no man's land, not racing against anyone at the moment, is just holding strong as we're on lap 11 of 14 here. We've got the replay, the replay there of Antoine Venet's kart, and this is what they were trying to do. And you can see here that they were loosening the engine mount there to try and obviously help them get the chain back on. But then obviously at that point, you've got to be careful working on a chain like that with no gloves on. Of course, very easy to get your finger caught in a sprocket. Mechanics doing a brilliant job there of getting it going again. But the ultimate question there was it too tight? Because there you can see 9-10 laps later, the kart is broken at the side of the circuit. So big, big shame there. Back with the live pictures, and Bruno Priam, Maxim Bobachov, still no change between the two here, but I suspect we might start seeing some interesting racing lines here. We always see this in Mini 60. Don't get your hopes, don't doubt your hopes just yet, because we will see a battle between these two. It's only a case of when will we see it, because we're on lap 12 of 14 at the moment. We'll be going on to the final lap relatively soon. Next couple of laps down for these drivers. It's just a case of when is Bobachov going to go for the move, or crucially, when is Bruno Priam going to go defensive? That is what Albert Tam is waiting for. Tam is there in 3rd place, all on his own. He is 2.3 seconds further down from these two, but he's another 2 seconds clear of the drivers behind. In fact, 3-4 seconds clear of the drivers behind. They're another 6.6 seconds further down the road. That just shows the pace that these two drivers have at the moment this weekend. We go on to lap 13. This is the penultimate lap of the race. In a final, I suspect they're going to start battling on this lap. That's the ultimate test. Or is Bruno Priam going to leave it to the very last lap here? There is a risk to doing that, because then, of course, he hasn't got any more time to retake the position if Bobachov can get past. Bruno sets the fastest lap of the race. He's asserting his lead here. He's just trying to break away. Now, if Bobachov gets past now, Bruno will have time to try and take it back. But if Bobachov waits to the last lap and is successful, Bruno will really have a struggle to try and get it back on that same lap and try and take the win. But Bobachov not choosing to go yet. I think he's going to wait for the very last lap here to attack. And, you know, Bobachov's had a perfect lesson of learning how Bruno takes these laps here, where he positions the car, where he might be slightly stronger or slightly weaker around the Valencian circuit. Checks over the shoulder, confirmation. Yes, you've got Maxim Bobachov there. It's just the two of you. Now you can go to battle on this final lap of the race. Bruno Priam leads the way. Bobachov will take the optimal line here through turn 3. Bruno will go defensive, wheel to wheel now. No, they couldn't quite get down the inside there through turns 5 and 6, in through 7. There's always an overtake opportunity here, but not this time. On the infield straight they go then. Get that toe, get that slipstream. Can he get the move down the inside? No. Bruno will slam that door close to the inside line. He will force Bobachov to take the optimal racing line. And can he get his kart alongside down the back straight? No, he just hasn't got the power out of the corner, in the slipstream, in the toe once more, down in towards the final chicane. If you're sitting there on the grandstand in the final chicane, you're going to get a perfect view of what's about to unfold here. Defensive goes Bruno. Bobachov to the outside. I don't think he's got the pace. I don't think he's got the momentum here. It's going to be Bruno Priam. A superb drive for Bruno Priam in the Mini 60 final. Both of them breaking away all the way throughout that race. Bobachov, despite his best efforts on that final lap, was not able to contend with the defensive driving from Bruno Priam. It wasn't too much defensive driving, it was just right. The perfect amount he needed to take the win here at Valencia for round 2. That is maximum points then for Bruno Priam. The Virtual Championship, he leads it, 188 points ahead of Albert Tam's 178. Maxim Bobachov bumps himself up to third in the standings with 136, just 1 point ahead of Alessandro Tuchon, of course, but he is not here. So that will all change again tomorrow when they've got another set of qualifying heats and another final tomorrow. The top three at the end of it. It is Bruno Priam, Maxim Bobajov, and Albert Tam finishing in third place after a close final. Well, they will make their way back to Parc Ferme. Of course, all the results provisional, of course. Let's go over the full results. Bruno, Bobajov, Tam, Palacio, Henuk from Garfiate, Capella, Kostreva, Zucchetto from Peruzzi, Felagoni from Lawrence, Kim, Buller, and Mason round out the top 15. Mason with 10 places gained, the same as Juan Garciase, also 10 places gained. Malix Mason finishes in 16th place from Oscar Singh, Werner Guth from Derek Rivera, then it's Sebastian Chris from Theodore Constantinou, who gained 6 places to finish in 21st place from Koda Singh, Jan Garzielek, Alexander Shilo from Lena Samalanka, from Michael Vino, Antoine Venet, one of 2 retirements, Sophie Guth was the other retirement. But there, Bruno Priam, well, calm, controlled final there. No drama. The highlights from that race. The ultimate highlight, Antoine Venet, the start of that race, not what he wanted at all. There you can see the mechanics working very hard there. One to make sure that the carb doesn't get covered in fuel there. They're pinching the pipe there to stop it from flooding the carb. And there you can see chain back on. And Antoine Venet having to wait for this entire pack to go past. They will make their way down in towards turn 1. The highlights in this one, again, the start of the race, relatively spread out. Now, that was a very consistent one for the front row. Now, they kept it nice and slow, did Bruno Priam and Albert Tam. They just kept the pace really slow. And that bunched everyone up, and they were just able to drive away. And that gave us a nice calm run into turn 3 here. It wasn't 36 cars barreling in 10 wide into a pinch point that's only a single file line. It was actually a relatively calm start to their race, and that's what allowed Bruno Priam, Albert Tam to break away. Bobajov managed to close in, had the likes of Lucas Palacio in tow. Unfortunately, Palacio would drop back. Bobajov would get up into second past Albert Tam, and then this was the unfortunate moment that Albert Tam just started to slowly drop further back and back. That was Antoine Venet out of the race. Unfortunately, I think that chain just gave up at the end of that race. And then, of course, this final attempt from Maxim Bobajov to get into the race lead. Not able to do it. He's happy with P2. It bumps himself up third in the championship points as well. But Bruno Priam takes the win and leads the championship at the moment with 188 points.
Give it up for your top 3 in the Mini 60 category. Please now welcome onto the podium to present the winners' trophies. Marco Parolin from the Parolin brand to present the 3rd place trophy to Albert Tam. Hold that trophy nice and high up, Albert. We'll now present the 2nd place trophy to Maxim Bobajov. Again, hold that trophy nice and high, nice big smiles. And finally, your race winner, it is Bruno Priam. Marco, join the drivers on the podium there. Nice big smiles. Trophies high up in the air then, drivers. All 3 of you, trophies high up in the air. Nice big smiles for all the photographers out there. And then we'd like to ask all 3 and Marco to join each other on the top step of the podium. Nice big smiles, nice and close up for me. Well, congratulations, drivers, after a brilliant end of the day. A superb effort from the mini category. Certainly a tough race to hold on to the top of that one, but now we can enjoy a nice, relaxing bit of non-alcoholic champagne. Marco, feel free to duck and cover at this point. You don't want to get that lovely Parolin jacket covered in champagne, but I'm sure the drivers want to get their lovely, clean race suits wet. Sorry, mums and dads watching, you might have to watch these. Get ready, drivers. 3, 2, 1, it's champagne! Well, superb. They're attacking each other behind the podium, which is fantastic. Right, guys, do come on back round. Well done. Congratulations. Bruno, let's have a quick chat. Bruno, don't go too far. Obviously, I know you're a French speaker, so we'll do our best here. Bruno, camera's just here. Congratulations. A superb final. a tough race as well, but well done at the end of today. Congratulations.
Bah, j'ai fait une très bonne finale et après bah, j'ai gagné et je fermais correctement les portes.
Excellent. Tomorrow's another day. You ready?
Et pour la prochaine course, je vais essayer de faire la même.
Perfect. Merci beaucoup. Congratulations. Well done to your top three. Give it up. Mini 60.